How you doing, James?
Very good. How you doing, Roger?
Good.
Hi, James. How are you?
Very good.
Kathy, one of the keys to identifying a sugar maple are the buds. And if you look out here on the end of this branch, you can see these brown pointed buds. They're tight and they're just beautiful looking, and that's what we look for to identify a sugar maple.
Okay.
Roger, if you'll notice here, we have a damaged branch. You can even see the sap oozing out of that damage.
Lindsay, if you run your finger along there and then taste it, you'll get a little bit of sugar. Try that. Pretty good, huh?
Yeah.
Now, the other key to identifying a sugar maple is this big oval shape on the tree. What do you think for age, James?
I would say 100 plus years old.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing. Now, what are all these tubes?
This is a tap and tube system that we have. We have 3 trees that are ganged along this central line, and it runs by gravity downhill to this end collection bucket.
Oh, so it all ends up running into one big collection?
Yes, sir.
Oh, look at this, guys.
Oh, look at that stuff pour out of there, Scott. Can you see it dripping out? They got good flow, huh? How many gallons are in there?
There's probably about 10 gallons in there right now, Roger.
Now, I see you're using a traditional bucket on this one.
Yeah, this is the spile and bucket system.
There's a lot of sap in there. Where's it go from here, James?
From here, we take it up to the sugar shack, and we bring it to the evaporator and turn it into maple syrup.
Well, can we take a look at that?
Sure thing. Welcome to the sugar shack.
Look at this place, Scott.
Wow.
Roger, could you throw that in the bathtub?
I got it.
Now what you see here is an evaporator. And the whole process of making maple syrup is to evaporate the water that's out of the sap. Remember, we have to get rid of 39 gallons of water to make 1 gallon of maple syrup. Now, you can see that the bathtub is connected by a tube to this warming pan. Now the reason why we want a warming pan here is we don't want cold sap to go into the evaporator. Now as water is leaving the evaporator, this float back here drops down and it opens a little flapper valve underneath, which lets more sap into the evaporator. Now the sap drops into these pans, and you can see that they're divided into 4 separate sections, and they're little cutouts at opposite ends. So the sap flows back and forth, kind of like a snake, until it gets over here to the end pan. Now, Scott, you remember what the sap looked like when we first started, when it came right out of the trees?
It looks like just water.
Water, yeah.
Then when it's about right here, it looks like maple syrup.
Yeah, it starts boiling away, and more sugar is left behind. Now, Lindsay, what does that look like to you?
Tea.
Tea, yes. Now, as it gets to this end pan, watch. Now that's starting to become maple syrup.
Yeah.
Lindsay, do you remember what the boiling point of water is?
212 degrees.
Exactly, yes. At sea level, we can't get water above 212 degrees. It turns into steam. But we can get maple syrup warmer than 212 degrees. In fact, when we get the liquid in here 7 degrees above the boiling point of water, or 219 degrees, that's when it's maple syrup. And I would come around here, and I would open this valve, and I would draw off the maple syrup that we just made.
Look at that.
Wow.
That's great.
Up back, what we have here is a very simple evaporator any homeowner
Wow.
can make.
Look at this.
See, all I used was a few cinder blocks that I had lying around, a couple of grates from barbecue, and Kathy, you probably recognize
looks
that.
like my roasting pan.
Exactly. A little candy thermometer and an old tin can, punched a little hole in it, and we're using that as our warming pan. I found an old smokestack that we used when we replaced a wood stove out in our cabin. And over here, we have a little candy thermometer to tell us what temperature it is. And we are just about at maple syrup.